Hi, everybody. It's Christina Quick, the Tarot Biz Mentor from the Profitable Psychic Business Academy. Welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be continuing on in our series about lunar astrology, and we're going to be talking about 3 selling secrets of the Black Moon Lilith. So, the Black Moon Lilith is probably one of the most avoided areas of interest in our lunar natal chart. But when it comes to uncovering the secrets of our lunar astrology or our moon sign, the Black Moon Lilith is a really, really important one to look at, especially if you identify as psychic, empathic, intuitive, or otherwise use your psychic abilities in any professional capacity. But mostly, I would say a lot of my audience is people who are professional psychics. And so, having a career as a professional psychic and being able to look at your Black Moon Lilith is going to be very interesting for a lot of you. And I'm sure that just listening to this, some of you have probably, in fact, most of you have probably never even heard of the Black Moon Lilith, probably don't know much about it. And I'm sure that if you have heard it in some other ways, it's evoking some kind of mysterious, dark, conjuring up all sorts of imagery, for you. And what might that mean? Because Lilith kind of has a sort of negative connotation, right? There's a good reason why this shadowy natal aspect is one of the best kept secrets of professional astrologers, because it can kind of go to a place where we start doing shadow work, right? And everybody feels a different type of way about shadow work. Shadow work is an integral part of my practice as in my spiritual practice and for the growth of my business as well. And so I hope it is part of yours too. And I know that you will find some really interesting wisdom and insight in your Black Moon Lilith should you give it an opportunity and look into it for yourself. But to fully understand the wisdom of the Black Moon Lilith and the knowledge that it has for us, we need to understand who Lilith is and what she represents, because her myth is integral to understanding what the Black Moon Lilith relates to in our natal chart. And if you think about it, astrology itself is simply a tool for storytelling. All zodiac signs are based on myths. All the planets are based on myths. So we can, translate a lot, especially in Western astrology, we can translate a lot of the zodiac signs and the planets into Western occultish myths and archetypes and allegories for life lessons and things like that. So, who is Lilith? Well, Lilith is a divine being that is much, much older than the most common story that we know of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and Lilith being his first wife. Previous to that, though, Lilith was a Babylonian, Assyrian type goddess, and she was kind of, how religions all do this kind of thing where they go around and they kind of absorb different aspects of the cultures and the communities that they conquer in an effort to, integrate that culture's myths into their own to make conversion a lot easier. Well, Lilith at that point in time was kind of known as this divine being and was translated later and worked into the Old Testament, especially in the Jewish mythologies, as being Adam's first wife. And now we know that Eve is the one most commonly discussed. And we know that Eve was made from, according to the Bible, the rib of Adam. But Lilith was made of the same clay as Adam. She wasn't made from Adam. She was made as an equal to Adam. So she was created, not in Adam's, image like Eve was, but in equal, in partnership to basically enjoy paradise on earth. If you kind of follow those mythologies. And so whether you do believe them or not, we're talking purely of a storytelling aspect to them, which I think is important. Whether you believe in certain religious mythologies or not, they do, all these stories do hold wisdom and knowledge. So in that way, they're valuable. And the way the story goes is something like Lilith and Adam, everything was really, really good, but they began to butt heads and they started disagreeing on things. And Lilith wanted to do things this way, and Adam wanted to do things this way. And it came to a point where things weren't going to progress forward unless one became more subservient to the other's will. Well, neither of them could agree on who that should be. And so Lilith basically grew bored. She wanted more in life, and Adam did not want more for her. He wanted her to support his vision, and she did not want to do that. She wanted her own place to rule. She wanted to make up her own rules. She wanted to have her own dominion over her own domain. And so she left, and she went on to find her own kingdom to rule. She created her own domain. And of course, when she did that, they vilified her, the text, they call her a baby eater or a demon or a witch or a succubus, but mostly she's seen as kind of like this demon that goes around, eating people's babies. And the way that the story goes is that when Lilith left Adam, she started going around and procreating with different angels, fallen angels. And so when, not fallen angels, but just different types of angels, because fallen angels hadn't happened yet, different kinds of angels. And they were creating these demigod type of beings, what we would call monsters or demons or something along those lines. Basically the higher court of angels began to kill her children and kill the beings that she would create with these other angels and other primordial types of beings. And so and then, she would take out revenge and then go, do that to them. And that's where you get this mythos of Lilith being a baby eater. She did this in revenge because they started killing her children first. What they did is they twisted her image into like this hag, right? Like this really hideous hag. And they started attacking her where in her feminine sensuality, in her, the core essence of her femininity, her sexuality. And they did this in very vicious ways by killing her children and ostracizing her and demonizing her image, out of fear of her ambition, right? And so Lilith's story is really all but a stranger to those of us who are deeply connected to their inner divine feminine energies. This is not something that, people who identify as predominantly or identify a lot as a feminine being are is very in touch with the feminine side of their energy, whether it doesn't matter if they're male, female, anything, anywhere in between, non-binary, gender fluid, okay? Because we're not just talking about one's sex, we're talking about how one expresses themselves in the world. And it's just, everyone has access to the wisdom of the divine feminine energies. It's just that women predominantly are feminine identifying people just tend to be more like intuitively attuned to that energy. But that doesn't mean that it's off limits. It doesn't mean that there are certain people that can't access it. It's open to everybody. But there are certain life experience that certain people are going to have, okay, and that can resonate with the story. And so most of us, I think, that are spiritual people are connected with the masculine and feminine energies. These are not brand new concepts to people like us. That, we resonate very deeply with this idea of leaving the comfortable, leaving the safe, leaving the predestined destiny, predetermined destiny that is laid out for us, and the predictability of that to kind of venture into the unknown with nothing but like a dream and a whole lot of ambition, right? Because after all, what better allegory is there to starting a psychic business? And in a lot of ways, where the intuitive arts like tarot card reading, astrology reading, or using your psychic abilities in any public capacity, let alone professional, is still kind of demonized and vilified by the people who rejected Lilith, right? So in a way, we are all kind of walking the path of Lilith. And in our Black Moon Lilith, in this aspect, in our natal astrology chart, we can reveal certain secrets that will help us forge our own path ahead. Okay. So the first selling secret of the Black Moon Lilith is that our Black Moon Lilith, whatever sign that it is in, represents our relationship to our sensuality, or just our relationship to sensuality in general. And so let me ask you something. When is the what is your relationship? When is the last time you allowed yourself to receive a pleasurable experience, let alone what's your relationship to receiving pleasure at all? And I don't necessarily mean being intimate, that it is one aspect of pleasure, but I'm also saying, when's the last time you let someone buy you a gift? Or when's the last time that, you got a gift and you were actually excited and you didn't feel some measure of guilt for receiving it? Okay. What is your relationship with receiving pleasurable experiences, pleasurable things that make you happy, that don't elicit a sense of guilt in you, and that there's not this sense of undeservingness of that? And that's a really important question. And I don't think a lot of business mentors ask this sort of question. And it's because it's personal. It's very, very personal. And I understand that. But our Black Moon Lilith is going to teach us that our relationship to intimacy mirrors our relationship to money, and vice versa. So if your sensuality, how you express your feminine energies, how you allow other people to praise and give gratitude for and worship your femininity, if your femininity is, repressed in any way, like you're too worried about what you're wearing, you don't want it to be too revealing because you're afraid people are going to think poorly of you, or you're afraid to put on makeup or dress yourself up, or you think that people will think you're trying to just get attention, or if you learned somewhere in your life that being pretty or attractive or using your feminine sensuality is unsafe because bad people will be attracted to you and they will do bad things to you, there's a likelihood that you have some repression there, and so I'm going to also bet if you have those issues, if those things are still an issue for you, I should say, not that those are issues, but if those things are still an issue for you, I'm also going to bet you're probably not making the money that you want to make either, or that you're not showing up live on webcam as much as you should be in your business, or you're not doing the professional photo shoots. Hey, that's me. Like, I haven't done a professional photo shoot in so long, and I think it's because maybe I'm worried about showing up in a certain level, and attracting a certain thing. And so I have to work through that. I have to process that and say, what does that actually mean for me? Are those things really true? Interesting, right? And so your Black Moon Lilith, whatever sign your Black Moon Lilith is going to reveal to you what archetype that you should embody in order to fix this imbalance, to fix this repression, and what feminine archetype to embody to activate your sensuality, to move you into a space of embodying my feminine sensuality is safe, right? And when you do that, you will make a lot more money, and you will be a lot more confident, and people will be more magnetically attracted to you because of your feminine confidence, right? So secret number 2 is our Black Moon Lilith represents our relationship to authority. Ooh, this is a big juicy one, this is not something that a lot of people think about, but it's so, so true. So I talk about imposter syndrome a lot. Like, a lot of my content is based around feelings of inadequacy, feelings of who am I to offer these services? Will people actually pay for them? Are my psychic abilities real? Dealing with all of those imposter syndrome thoughts. And everybody thinks that their main block with imposter syndrome is they think they don't know enough. But actually, what I've found for most people to be true is that they have a really deep-seated fear of being in an authoritative role. And they do that because they reject themselves as the authority. And how that manifests and shows up is rejecting other people as their own authority or being sovereign of their own life choices. So this can look like judgment for people's choices. It can look like judgment for other women specifically, or feminine embodying people at the moment. Okay. And what, in practical terms, what this really means is it translates to having poor boundaries, right? Poor boundaries as far as the energetic boundaries and the space between you and other people, not respecting other people's time and energy, allowing other people to not respect your time and energy, right? And it's really born out of a fear of not respecting your own. And it all comes back to having that fear of being in an authority position, of fear of power. And so, whenever I work with clients in regards to boundaries, because it's a really, really big part of what I do, especially in cases of codependency, it always goes back to that rejection of that person's authority. And it's like Lilith, it's like the story of Lilith. You know, she rejected the authority of the land to pursue her own kingdom where she could rule. And so, you have to imagine what would have happened to Lilith if she wouldn't have done that. She has all of this raw, ambitious power, but if she had no belief in herself that she could rule, this energy would become dark and it would become destructive, and it would fulfill that prophecy that, you know, other people tried to imprint on her as being demonic. And even according to some different texts, we even see evidence that says that she even did leave a path of destruction in her wake before she left, and that she did, like, you know, she really did like exact her revenge and things like that, because she was too caught up in the judgment and you know, not believing that she could go forth and have her own kingdom and community. And so our Black Moon Lilith, when we work with Lilith in this way, it will reveal to us the archetype, whatever sign our Black Moon Lilith is in. It will reveal that what areas, like, are we not respecting ourselves? You know what I'm trying to say? And what areas can we respect the space of ourselves, but also respect the space and authority of other people? Because when you are confident in yourself, you don't, you know, there's this thing where we're like, we go out and we pick fights with people, or we get into discussions that really don't really concern us, or we try to convert people to think one way over another, and it usually just falls on kind of deaf ears, right? And so when we there's something magical that really happens, and this is the third thing, is that when we tap into our Black Moon Lilith, we stop comparing ourselves to others. We stop looking at peeking over the fence and seeing what that person's doing, or judging them for how they're showing up or how they're embodying their feminine magic and their feminine sensuality. And we start to give ourselves the space that we need in order to rule our own kingdoms. And when we do that, we heal ourselves and we heal others, because we give ourselves permission to be the authority, to be the sovereign. And when you do that, magically, almost overnight, things like people breaking your boundaries, or people pleasing, or, you know, attracting codependent spiritual life coaching clients and things like that, they really stop happening, because that confidence in that will help attract people who are ideal clients, who respect that, are looking to cultivate that for themselves. So, you know, it helps us stop judging and comparing to other people. And so instead, all of that energy that we would have used to judge and to compare, we now can funnel that dark, destructive energy into something magnificent, like our own business, our own house, our own empire, our own kingdom. Okay. So, by the way, my Black Moon is in Lilith. My Black Moon Lilith is in Leo. excuse me, my black moon Lilith is in Leo. And so I'm curious what yours is. Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you are ready to integrate your mission, your big life purpose, and your magic, and you want to utilize the phases of the moon to learn how to create content and how to leverage your marketing strategy, then I want to invite you to join my class, Moon Marketing Magic. It is live right now. If you're watching this in the future, then that means it's all on demand. And what it is I've created this proprietary lunar marketing calendar. It gives you ideas on how to market your business, when to run sales, when to host live events, when to do send out newsletters, all of this really important stuff that it's about claiming your power and showing up in your business. I would love to invite you to that class. You can go to moonmarketingmagic.com. There will also be a link in the description box below. I will see you in the next video. Bye.